Welcome to another episode of Unqualified Uprising, live from the Broad Auburn Bunker. I'm your host, Mike. I always say this is a special episode and that is a special episode, but tonight is the episode about 9/11, or at least this year's episode about 9/11, and not 9/11 like 9/11. No, 9/11, September 11, 2001, where the planes hit the towers. Tonight we're going to tell stories about where we were when this happened. I believe it's 23 years ago to the day, and about 12 hours too late or whatever. A lot of things happened that day. Our country changed forever, I believe. We're going to have some unique points and maybe some unique views. But who knows? But we're going to get into it. I'm going to bring in Joe.
Hi, my name is Joe.
Okay. I'm going to bring in Tom.
Hi, my name is Tom.
It didn't sound as good as when Joe did it.
No.
No, you stole. No.
Don't ruin it, Joe.
Oh, he ruined it. And I'm going to bring in producer Adam.
Hi, I'm Adam.
Okay, you're Adam. Great. Joe, I'm going to start with you. Everybody likes you. Our one fan has told me tremendous things about you, that you are the light of their life. I just want you to know you have a fan. Quick comment on your fan. Quick comment to your fan.
Thank you very much for being a fan.
Fan.
Yes.
Okay. What would you say to them if you met them out on the street?
I would say hi to them and talk to them.
Okay.
Yeah, see what they like about me, you know.
Okay.
There are a lot of people like me, but some people don't. So
I do not believe that.
I can't accept that.
I do not accept that as law. Okay. I'm going to bring in my other host, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Joe, where were you on September 11th, 2001?
I was in high school. I was in history class. What I do remember about it was before the first tower, the North Tower, got hit at the end of the period, at the end of first period. I was not in the class. We were outside the class. We did something. I don't remember what it was. If we were why we weren't in the class, but we all came back to the class. I think we were in the library or something, doing research or something, and then we came back to the class. And it was at the end of the class where the history teacher, his name was last name, what was his name? Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins.
I didn't go to school with you. Why are you asking
I think it was Mr. Collins.
Okay,
he was
Mr. Collins.
He was my
Sure.
he was my football coach.
You know I'm like 5 years older than you, right? We
but-
didn't go to school.
No, I know, but
I went to school like 40 miles away from you. Mr.
But you
Collins.
know who he is.
Mr. Collins.
He was my
Okay.
coach, and we came back
Wait
to
a minute. I thought he was your history teacher.
He was my history teacher and football coach.
Oh, okay.
He did both.
Okay.
So we
Double
got
duty.
back to class,
Yes.
and he had heard from another history teacher that a plane had hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
Is this like a secret cabal
He didn't
of
know.
history teachers
Well, he
running
didn't
around?
know. He didn't have a TV, and I guess Mr. Rogers was the other history teacher.
What is going on?
And
is this
he-
some kind of fucking...
No.
Is this some kind of bit?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
So Mr. Rogers and Mr. Collins.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers, who it
Okay.
was. Yeah, because I want to explain this right so
Okay,
everybody
yeah, go ahead.
understands.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
interrupt.
go ahead. Okay.
So we were in the library. We were doing a research paper. We came back to the class. Mr. Rogers' class and Mr. Collins' class were both at the library. We came back. Mr. Rogers, I don't know how he heard about it, if it was on his cell phone or whatever. None of us were watching the TV. He had heard that the plane hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
Okay.
So Mr. Collins, who was the teacher, turned on the TV, and we saw.
I thought he didn't have a TV.
He had a TV. He got the TV from the other room. There was a.
What is going on at this fucking school?
Yeah. there was a not I wouldn't describe it as a cafe or a dining room, but it was like a storage room. But there were TVs in there. But
What
he
is
wanted
going
to.
on?
He
Where
wanted.
did you go to school?
It was Gloversville,
Oh.
Gloversville School.
That explains a lot.
Okay,
that
did he
explains a
run
lot.
into?
He went across the hallway where the TVs are because there's a storage room there, and he got a TV and wheeled it into the classroom.
Oh, my
And
God.
plugged it in.
Okay.
And then
That's a better explanation.
Yeah.
I thought when you initially said the cafe that the guy ran into the cafe
No,
and ripped it off the wall and
the-
fucking ran
I
into
remember.
the room.
I remember the storage room he got it out of. It was right next to the cafe. It was near it. But he pulled that
No
out.
wonder you can remember the 140 accidents you've gotten into with extreme detail.
The
Yeah.
cafe.
So he
So,
wheeled the TV out of the
there
broom
was some
closet that you somehow knew the
Yeah.
dimensions of.
But
Yeah, existed. Okay.
So he got that out. We started watching, and then right after we saw the smoke billowing out of the tower, and because I want to explain the story because there were people that actually watched it continuously. We were not those people. There were people in the school, depending on what teachers they had in high school. Some teachers just left that on all day.
Really?
Yeah, and that's all they did was listen to that.
Oh my
But
God, that's so traumatic.
but after we switched classes, we went to third period. We were in a science class, and there was a lab, and the lady said, "Look, I understand that there's been an incident in New York City. We're going to conduct the class as normal. We're going to be doing work."
Listen,
and
you little assholes. I don't give a fuck what's going on.
I don't care that your dad's burning.
Yeah,
we don't-
listen, assholes.
Wow,
And I
what a
remember
bitch.
it just like it was yesterday because she was very adamant about doing class, and she did class.
Oh my
She
What
did
a-
class.
what
She
a-
didn't do anything with it.
What a bitch.
And then after that class, when we went to English, by then all the buildings were all down and everything, and we saw all the rubble. And I was like, "What happened to the buildings?"
Oh my God.
And he said they were knocked down. I said,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
that
well,
fucking woman, that science teacher ran down there and fucking knocked him down. She was pissed. Oh my
But
God.
that's pretty much the story." And then
Nothing to see here.
No, and then the rest of it I heard on the news later that night. I learned what had actually happened.
Okay, so you were in school.
I was in school.
Okay.
High school.
Okay.
I was in
with Mr. Collins and Mr.
Yeah,
Rogers.
I was a sophomore. It was the beginning of my sophomore year. I was in
Okay.
10th grade.
Okay.
I was 16 years old.
Okay. Tom, you're up, pal.
Okay.
I want as many details as he did.
Expect Mikey over here to bust your balls.
Oh, okay,
God
yeah,
forbid I ask a fucking question. Okay,
Well,
whatever.
I woke up. I remember that day.
Yeah.
Usually my routine was to be in the kitchen, probably make an instant oatmeal for myself.
Okay, hold
and
on.
that's- My balls getting busted?
No, just all these people know is now you're in your apartment somewhere. Are you in a house?
I'm in a house.
Where? In the kitchen. I know, in the kitchen. Where's this?
Well, that's going to be a big detail. So
Okay.
all right.
Oh, okay.
I live maybe 7 miles from the tower.
Bum bum bum
Yeah.
bum 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 bum.
7 to 10 miles probably.
Could you see them
Yes. I could see them from my attic.
from your attic?
From my attic, I could look out the window in the attic and see the whole New York skyline.
Did you have a big window?
Big enough to see, yeah.
Could you sit there and look?
Well, when we got to that part of the story, yeah. Well,
No, but I mean, could you like?
yeah, I could stare there. I could
No,
stare.
I mean, could you bring me up there and show me the New York skyline? We could sit there.
I'd say yes.
It's romantic.
It could be romantic. It could be romantic.
Do you want it to be romantic?
Well, no.
let's just say
but
this. My
I
wife-
don't want him to ask me to the attic.
Yeah.
I don't want to just go up there and sit there.
What
I'm
exactly
going to
is
take
romantic?
you to the attic.
Huh?
You talking about like a love scene?
Okay, so
Okay.
listen, Alicia and I
Jesus.
never sat up there and like
That
snuggled.
was
while
my
we're-
question.
yeah,
Could I
okay.
take my date up there
Yeah.
and sit there?
You
and-
could. I never thought of it.
But was it like dirty and filthy or no?
No. It was
Okay.
actually like a finished attic. But,
Okay,
but
so it
we
was a
still,
nice attic.
But we still use it for storage.
Okay, so you're in your kitchen. What time is it?
Wow, it's probably about 7:45, 8 o'clock.
When did they start? When did they start dropping? 8:45.
Yeah, about 8:30, 8:45, whatever. But I remember I would have to be at work at 10. So
Where were you working? You're allowed to say.
Rose Art Industries.
Rose Art?
Yes. Yeah, it was the art thing.
Don't act like you assholes know that. You don't know what it is.
Yeah, dude, what's a freaking
Did you ever-
stationery company?
Oh, he
dare you?
knows. He knows.
How dare you?
He knows. He knows.
Where is it? In New Jersey?
It's in New Jersey. I think they moved now. It's so long ago, man. I don't know.
How dare you know things? Stop knowing stuff.
Can't help it.
Oh, whatever.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay. All right. He knows.
he knows. Okay. So
Oh,
you
by
worked
the way,
at-
you guys would like to know that Pokemon was a big account of ours, and you guys would have lost your mind.
No,
over
I hate
that.
Pokemon.
You do? All
I
right.
would have.
You-
No, I hate.
I would have
Pokemon.
been given Adam stationary pencils if he
Well,
wasn't.
okay, what
if he
about-
wasn't 12 years old at the time.
Can you get him? Can you get him? What about now?
I have no.
He's not allowed in New
no
Jersey.
connections.
He's not allowed in New
Yeah.
Jersey anymore. Okay.
I have no connections.
Okay.
Whatsoever.
Spit it out, because
Okay.
you're gonna get railed. I see him over there. He's chopping at the
He
bit.
wants to talk.
Yeah. So get him.
Well, I mean, you guys were all three of you were talking for a minute. I mean, I
Oh.
wanted to put something.
Stop monopolizing all the time.
I was supposed to go to. There's a warehouse. I worked in the corporate office. But there was a warehouse, a manufacturing plant for that as
For
well.
the Core-Mark or the
I was supposed to
Airmark.
go to for Rose Art. Yeah,
Rose
I
Art.
was supposed to go to the warehouse to pick up some stuff.
In the
that morning.
Ozarks.
Yeah, that
Ozarks
was it.
and
That
the
would have been in
Ozarks.
Woodridge, New Jersey.
Woodridge, New Jersey.
That would have been where I had to go that morning.
Okay.
So,
in a van?
Yeah. So usually, if I was working in the office, I
What
would
kind of van?
It was like a white cargo van. I think it was
Oh,
a Dodge.
no.
or
Did it have
something
windows?
Like that. Yeah. Well, the van would be there. I just parked my car there. I drive my car there. Sometimes I took the van home, but
Okay.
oh gosh, this is the important details. You're asking very intriguing questions.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I need.
Sometimes I'd have the van, sometimes not.
Okay, so that's
okay.
pretty cool. So you work at a place. Did you like this place?
I mean, I didn't love it.
Did they like you?
They didn't love me.
What did they openly hate you?
No. I was okay at the time. At the moment, in that
Wait,
moment, yes.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Wait, first of all, give me my lighter. You stole my lighter. I'm looking at it. You stole my lighter. Don't throw it at me. Well, okay, throw it at me a little bit. Okay, thank you. Very dainty. I appreciate it. Okay, so they didn't like you. Did they like say shit to you when they walked by?
No, they liked me.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
You're a likable guy, man.
They didn't throw me banquets ever or anything like
Well,
that.
no,
They
I'm
didn't-
not saying that, you moron. They didn't like.
I'm not a moron.
They didn't fire you because they didn't like you.
No, they didn't fire me.
They loved you.
They loved me. Yes.
Okay. See, there you go.
All right. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
They were
weren't
not just. They didn't just love me. They were in love with me.
Okay.
Okay. That's how I remember it.
Okay. So you're at Ozarks and Ozarks, and you're working, and you got a van, and you got to do some shit in the van.
Okay. Yes. This is derailed. But
It's not derailed.
I'm having
It's-
instant. I'm having instant oatmeal in the morning. Maybe some coffee.
TOM. Passive aggressive TOM.
Let's go.
Okay.
Adam's getting a little
Yeah, I got a story.
feisty.
Ah,
yeah, see, he's
feisty.
got his own story.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, shit.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, but you. I know. I'm on
wants,
to you.
He wants to chime in.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I don't wanna
Okay.
interrupt anything.
Go.
All right. So we have a TV
Yes.
in the kitchen at
Yes.
the time. A
Yes.
little TV.
Television.
So I'm eating this oatmeal.
Oatmeal.
And I think I was watching Good Morning America, which was or today one of the freaking milk toast shows, which weren't so bad back then.
Milk toast. Kelly
Milk
Ripa.
Toast, yeah, it wasn't even Kelly. Oh God, no, it
Michael
wasn't that.
Strahan.
It was
Lyle Alzado.
It must have been. Yeah, it must have been Good Morning America. Either way,
Regis
there
Philbin.
was some shit about conventional potty training was on the TV. The next thing I know, they're showing an image of the World Trade Center on fire.
Okay.
So that caught my attention. So I'm watching this. I'm eating. I'm just still watching it. I thought to myself, some dopey pilot probably hit.
That's
hit
what
the
most
tower.
of everybody thought at first.
So yeah, so that's what I was doing. So I was curious as to what happened, but it's time for me to go. So I make my way upstairs. So use the bathroom or whatever. Make sure I'm all spiffy looking, and then I hear Alicia scream that the other tower was hit. And the first thing that goes through my mind is, no, that's not a coincidence. I went, oh, we're under attack. We're under attack. So I went downstairs, fuck work, went downstairs, turned the living room TV on, plopped on the couch, and there I sat, I think, for, God, 10 or 12 hours. I mean,
That was your contribution to America?
Yeah. I picked, my kids were were in kindergarten. They were already in school. And I remember going to pick my son up from school, and just all the fathers that were there. Like, I don't think anybody went to work that day because the only people picking up their kids were fathers.
Right.
And there's like 20 fathers standing out in the park behind the school.
Right.
And we're just all looking at each other.
Okay.
We're just all staring at each other in space, not saying a word. Like, what could have happened?
Unspoken words.
Unspoken words. So it was just hard. And from what else I can remember is one detail I left out was the attic.
The attic.
Yeah. So as this was going on before I picked up my son from school, as this was all going on, yeah, I went up to the attic to try to get a view of what was going on. And all I could see was smoke. So that got nixed. I went downstairs, watched on TV. I heard helicopters over my house all day.
That's your 9/11 story?
What's that?
That's your 9/11 story?
I'm telling my 9/11 story.
Oh.
So,
Is it
yeah.
over?
No, unless you
Okay,
want it to be
continue.
over.
No, I don't want it to be over, but it's okay.
Okay, so I started thinking about the people I knew. My mom worked in New York City.
Oh,
she
no.
didn't work in the World Trade Center.
Mama
She-
Mayola?
She worked there sometimes. She worked, I think, 3 or 4 days a week in Roseland, New Jersey, and 1 or 2 days at the Trump building, of all places.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I mentioned it. Shit.
Okay.
Okay.
He owes you
I
$1.
owe you $1.
You
Joe.
owe Joe $1.
Oh, gosh. This is where Joe chimes in and goes, mega, 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 mega.
No, you listen.
Okay.
Continue
Yes. So I was trying to call. I couldn't get through.
to Mama.
I couldn't get through to her. So, I mean,
Okay.
I didn't think she was in any danger necessarily, but you just don't know.
Okay.
Then I start thinking of people. Oh, my gosh. And I thought my best friend's brother worked for Cantor Fitzgerald in the towers.
I'm dumb. I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's a building that anybody that was in that office that day died.
Okay. That's terrible. Thank
yeah,
you. That's
yes.
horrible.
Right. So,
Well, not horrible
I
for
couldn't-
me. That's horrible for them.
Right. I tried to call them.
Well, what am I supposed to say? I don't know any of them. Those great people.
My good friend,
Yes.
who I try to, they wanted to keep the line clear, obviously.
Right.
So nobody was getting through. They're
Right.
So I left that alone.
Okay.
So Alicia's cousin was in the building. Worked in the building.
Okay.
He apparently, as we found out later, went up to work,
Yes.
went downstairs all the way down to the street to get a bagel.
Nice.
And so his procrastination saved his life.
Saved it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
'cause if he had went back upstairs, gone.
That was a good
So,
story.
Yeah, so that part of it, that he was the luck. One thing I'll say about my buddy's brother is that his first week that he worked in the World Trade Center was 93. The first week he
first
worked there,
bomb hit.
yeah, the first bomb hit, and he bought insurance.
Bomb insurance?
He bought insurance, yeah, life insurance. I forgot the insurance they had for that building, but there was particular insurance.
I need
for
bomb insurance now.
Give me
I'm
some
a double.
bomb insurance. Well, he was one of the few that did, so he was smart on that.
I feel like it has like the little Mario fucking bomb on it, and you just sign it, and you're like, I'm okay.
in case you ever get bombed again, you get paid.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, that's what happened. Well, I don't know if it counted as a bombing, but the attacks. They did have insurance for terrorist attacks, I guess.
I would hope not.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
if my
But they did.
insurance agent called me up and said, "Hey, listen, Al Qaeda has been seen lurking around upstate New York. You better get some terrorist
Yeah.
insurance." I am not going to buy that.
I don't know what you would call that insurance. I'm sure somebody out there, one of our two listeners must
Yes,
have
one,
heard of
yes.
such a thing.
One of our
Yes.
fan might know.
Yeah.
Now we are going to get to an unprecedented moment on Unqualified Uprising. The first. Oh, yeah, there it is. I heard it. Let's hear an Adam diatribe about his 9/11 experience.
All right. I was in 9th grade. I hated it because most people hate 9th grade. Yeah.
Everybody hates 9th
Every-
grade. Joe
Second-
probably liked 9th grade.
He probably did. Well, I was homesick from school. Well, sick is a stretch. I just didn't want to go. So, I was sick. And I wasn't trusted to stay home yet by myself, so I had to go to my grandmother's house. And sat and I was watching TV, waiting for the good stuff to come on after the morning shows, like Maury Povich, that kind of nonsense, so I could have something to laugh at. And I think I was watching Good Morning America, just minding my own business, and they're talking about something just hit the World Trade Center. And I go, we have footage, and it showed the one plane hitting it, and then the handful of minutes later, the second plane hit, and then sitting there watching everything and going, huh, this is weird. And later on during the day, there were reports that one of the planes crashed in Pennsylvania, and the other one hit the Pentagon, and I sat there basically like more than likely like everyone else that day. I just sat there and watched news, hour after hour of news and theories on who did it and all the other nonsense, and it was just kind of weird day, like weird tragic day. And then yeah,
That was electrifying. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much so.
That's the best story I ever heard about 9/11.
I think so
Wow.
too.
Let me tell you, it was better than yours.
Oh yeah,
It was definitely better than yours.
Oh yeah, by a mile.
100%.
well, what are you supposed to say about all the people that got freaking killed?
No, listen.
I mean,
I
come on.
I
You can
understand.
see it on TV, Adam, man. That's the whole thing. They showed images that day that they decided never to show again. I seen a lot of images that day of people like jumping out of the building.
Yeah,
it was
well,
horrible. It was
yeah.
horrible.
Okay.
There was stuff.
Am I in trouble? I'm getting a mean mug.
There was.
Hey, no, listen.
The
Enough
stink
out
eye.
of you over there.
Oh, okay.
Now we are going to take a journey. Okay? Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what happened to me on 9/11. Okay? Yeah, shake your heads. Shake your heads, assholes. Shake your heads.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, shake your heads. Okay.
Shaking my head at Adam.
Okay.
Actually, we're sharing
So,
a chuckle.
I'm 43. So how old was I in 9/11?
Joe, answer
21.
the question.
I was 21. I was 21. I had a new job. Guess where my job was? It's at a place that don't exist anymore.
Is it in New York?
It is in New York, but it's not around here. It's near Kingston. It's in Kingston. It was in the city of
It's
Kingston.
either Sears or Kmart. I think it's
Kmart.
Kmart.
Told me
Oh,
Kmart.
okay.
Kmart at 800 Myron Lane in Kingston. If anybody, if any of our fan are from Kingston, they will know this place.
Was
They
it on a
lived
big hill?
It was on a hill
It was on a big hill next to a supermarket. If I
next
remember.
to something else.
Where,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that's located, there's a lot of stores. It's not just K. It's actually a private.
Yeah, it was a Kmart and with like a little diner connected to it.
I remember.
And then
it.
underneath there was a supermarket and a Chinese buffet. There was a bunch of shit there.
Okay.
I drove my piece of shit car there because I was a 21-year-old loser living in a trailer on top of a mountain with my other idiot friend. It was a disaster. But that's a whole nother bunch of podcasts or therapy sessions, whichever comes first. But yeah, these fucking guys are grinning at each other. I see them over there. Like, I see you.
Yeah, well, I
On
mean-
to you.
I just remember
I'm not
I
doing
was in the
shit.
same situation when I was that age. You gotta, you don't come, you don't just start at the top.
Let me tell you, when I explain this situation to you, you'll pray that no one that the future people do not have to go through this situation.
Okay.
Okay. So I applied at Kmart. I didn't even want to have a job, but that was the deal. I lived with my friend. I had to get a job. I had no money. So my first day was 9/11, and they stuck me on a register and made me ring out people. And I did not want to do that at all. And I was a 21-year-old fuck up. So I remember standing I started my shift. I punched in or did whatever I had to do. And no vest. They actually gave you a Kmart shirt. So no vest bullshit. You actually looked like a human being. And I started checking out. I had a trainer with me, and I was checking out this lady and ringing her fucking stupid shit up. And I remember the front end supervisor. Anybody that works in retail or cashier knows what a front end supervisor is. Was coming through my line with her quote unquote friend. And her friend was talking about, do you believe what's going on in New York? And I heard that. It didn't register. I didn't give a shit about New York City. I don't care. I'm not there. It didn't even register. She came through my line. She's still babbling with that other woman, and whatever. They go off. They're gone. So my trainer walks away to go use the bathroom or something. It was a short girl. I don't remember her name. I was such a fucking dummy that I said, you know what? I don't want to be a cashier. I'm just going to go back and stand in electronics or stand in sporting goods, and maybe they'll stick me in one of those departments. I shut off my light. The girl had like the drawers back then. You could just shut them, and like the camera was like literally right over your head. Ain't nobody stealing shit. So I didn't have to count out all my money or what away. So I walked away. I shut off the light, and I walked away. I'm stumbling around in Kmart, and anybody that has gone to the old style department stores remembers the television department, the electronics department. Usually one of those walls had just an enormous display of televisions. Televisions all over the place. This is before flat screens. This is before all that bullshit.
I remember it well.
So I'm walking through Kmart, bumbling around like I do, and I go to the electronics department. And I want to say I'm looking at a GameCube. I want to say I am looking at a GameCube in the case and figuring out whether or not I want to spend money that I should be spending on food to buy GameCube. And I look to my right, and on about 150 televisions in front of me, I see which tower got hit first, the North Tower.
Yes, it was the North Tower.
I see the North Tower on fire, and it is almost like a panoramic view. It's the whole. We're down here in the studio. It's twice the size of that wall over there. It's like the size of a two-story house on a wall. Talking like 100 feet by 50 feet tall. It's a big fucking electronics department. I see the shit smoking, the North Tower. And I'm standing there looking like a doofus. And out of the corner of my eye, I see something enter the screen. And it was the second plane. And I saw the second plane hit about 70 different televisions all at once. It was a truly surreal moment. I feel like other than being there or being able to see it like Tom, being in that region of New York City in the boroughs, I think I had one of the best views possible. Because you got to understand, I'm looking at you, and all of a sudden something from out there just flies down and fucking blows you apart, puts a huge hole in you, and there's flames and everything. So they started sending people home because we were only, I think Kingston was like an hour and 45 minutes from the city. So we had people that would come up and work during the week and then go home on the weekend. So we had people from Yonkers living there, people from Brownsville, Hudson. So there were people relatively close, within 100 miles. So they sent the first shift home, and the store closed at 8 o'clock. And that is my 9/11 story.
That's tremendous.
Oh, yeah. You're staring at me, grinning at me like an
I was
idiot.
gonna say
What do you
something.
want?
I think that was the best story of all of us.
Ah, there it is.
I'm
I
beat
think,
by a
you
mile.
know,
That
I
sounds
mean,
like a second in
even-
command if I
it-
ever heard one.
It might. I mean,
Hey.
it might
Nah,
have been.
Hey.
Tom. I mean, if you had a little bit more of a twist, even though you were right in the city, it might have been you. But definitely, I would say, because I know what you're talking about. All the TVs together and seeing it on all of them. Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Did I
Let me-
mention that I ran full speed to the city and started pulling bodies out?
Let me tell you. He is so fucking mad at you right now. He's so fucking mad at you. He can say he's not mad at you all he wants, but I see the way that he was looking at you just then before he thought. It was like eye violence. I can't describe
Not
it.
real.
You know what
Yeah.
though? It's
Yeah.
not important.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. That
It-
story's great.
It's not important
My
whose
story's not
story is
great.
the best. It's
Mr. Roger,
important
his
that they
Mr.
all
Rogers
happened
story
on
is
9/11.
And they're not
better.
actually great story. I mean, it's a horrible thing that happened, so it's hard to say, oh, wow,
Yeah.
I have this wonderful tale about 9/11.
Yeah, it is. It is an awful thing.
It's a fairy tale.
Also, if they looked at when they were covering the story and they had thought that it was like an amateur pilot or something like that, all they had to do was look at New York City, because New York City, that whole area, that whole region where it happened, and all the way up the borough of Manhattan with all those buildings, that is restricted airspace for LaGuardia. That you can't fly. If you're an amateur pilot, you can't fly in that airspace. If you do, you get in a lot of trouble. You can't fly.
I didn't have
through
time to
that
process all that when I saw the plane hit, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't find out about it until after, and it has been going back to like the early 70s.
I don't.
Restricted
Hey,
airspace.
Joe, I don't think those guys that did that. I don't think they really cared about that.
No, but what I'm saying is that would rule out having it being
All
an
right,
amateur
Joe.
pilot.
Another part of that day, though, was like there was 2 planes still in the air. Like, they still had planes in the air, and they wanted to make sure they grounded every airplane in the country.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the Pentagon came on the TV, and we're going, "Holy Christ, is this shit gonna end?" And they talked about some other plane that went off course, and that was the one who that landed. That was the one that landed in the
I
field.
should add too that I didn't know until later on that day, like late that night, about the plane in Pennsylvania, United Flight 93.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that happened until
Well, they made a movie about it. I mean, who knows what happened on that flight? But it was going somewhere. It was heading somewhere. I was told it was like, from what I understand, the Empire State Building. That was a target for that.
No, that
I
was
Or-
going for the White
I
House.
heard it was White House.
The
White House,
I heard
right.
it was ruled that they were like 75 or 80% probable that it was going there, but they didn't know. They couldn't say 100% that they knew it was going there. But
Let me tell you one thing. I have faith in America that if ever again some asshole pulls out a blade on a plane and starts that fucking "I'm the captain now" boogaboo bullshit, that you're done. You're done. You're absolutely done, because there's going to be about 12 guys beating the shit out of you. And if I was on a plane, I would be one of them. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah, how could that happen? I can't run that. I can't get past my head. I can understand people being shocked and scared, but every single person on these planes just accepted their fate.
Yeah, that's
hard for
there's
me to
always
accept.
and
It is.
do you want to get into the there's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of different situations and a lot of different things that happened that day that don't make a lot of sense. Donald Rumsfeld saying that where the plane hit was the exact spot where that $9 trillion were, and now no one knows where the money is. Whoopsie, whoopsie.
I don't know. I have
There's
a
the old.
headache.
Yeah, but what about there's the thing where the planes weren't marked the way that these planes should be. People were dropped off at other airports. There's a million conspiracy theories. We cannot say that there are not conspiracy theories about 9/11. I know there's conspiracy theories about a lot of things.
I think George Bush, though, when he made the speech at the World Trade Center, and I think that he handled that very well.
George W.
George W.
Yes.
And
George
I think
W.
that
did
he
good.
and I think that he also united the country for a brief period. after
It was
that.
brief,
It
and so did Giuliani, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Giuliani too. I mean, the terrorists messed up New York City at the time when it was probably the best ever. It was.
We
the
were doing well.
cleanest.
The thing with that, fuck. I mean, it's upsetting. It's upsetting to think about because we were all united for a little while, and I thought that. And I look at the country today compared to what it was in 2001 during that. I don't think an event like that would even bring us together right now.
It might. You're right.
I don't. Not like it did then.
I don't think so. I think it.
We got to make sure it never happens again. That
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I can't see anything uniting us as a country because
It
there was
was-
shit like that. There was a
was
hostile
incredible.
election.
You remember all the flags and everything, all of that.
All the tattered flags on the cars.
Yeah, I remember people openly loving America, and now people openly hate
Yeah.
America.
And then Lee Greenwood with the patriotic song.
I've been hearing that song for 40 years. I don't
But
need to
he's
hear
been-
that song anymore.
No, but he made the CDs and stuff. He started. He was selling a lot of.
Because of 9/11.
Yeah, he was.
That's
sell-
why he made the song.
But no, he was selling a lot of patriotic CDs during that time
well,
and records.
What,
It took us about.
yeah,
Once
9/11. Let me
once-
hawk
yeah.
my fucking products.
Once,
Yeah,
uh,
9/11.
No, but
Once
I mean,
we went to
Hawk.
once it
what
became
I'm saying is
politicized.
there was a demand for
Yeah, for
patriot.
tchotchkes, for fucking tchotchkes, and these people all threw them all over the ground. It's
Yeah, all the symbolism shit. There's one
This-
thing. You had the yellow ribbon or whatever. I mean, that's fine.
Whatever.
That flag. It was a horrible thing that happened, but yes, people freaking capitalizing on it. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. People selling their mugs and all that shit. And I remember because there was a scheduled. They used to have a scheduled where I lived. They used to have a scheduled street fair every beginning of fall, so like September 20th or whatever it would be. And that weekend, everybody had 9/11 shirts. They were selling all sorts of American rigmarole, and it just felt weird.
yeah. I bet
Yeah.
they donated all the money though to charities.
Nobody made a profit. Right?
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Nobody
nobody
made-
made a profit. Yeah.
It took 10 years though for them to catch Osama bin Laden. It wasn't until 2011.
Yeah.
that they
I-
raided.
Well, that's the whole point. Like the going after Saddam Hussein and pretending to go after Osama bin Laden at the time. I don't know. That's where things started to go south is the Iraq
Yeah,
war.
we
But
were
a good
united
feeling.
from like the end of 2001 till like 2003. Once Bush went into Iraq for the weapons of mass destruction, and it was proven that it didn't exist.
I don't think
That's
anything
when-
was ever clearly proven
Well,
for
I mean,
or against.
it
I
was
think there was more evidence that they did not have them.
Right. I think you're right, Mike. I think there was some shit lying
They
around.
had some fucking uranium and
And-
some fucking whatever. They had some boron.
It's
They had
some
some
stuff
plastic
that-
tubes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's stuff that could do some damage,
Yeah.
but are they on a level of mass destruction? Who the hell knows?
And
Who the
that's
hell
a
knows?
that's a whole nother thing because
But they sold it as
yeah.
a brand shiny
War,
new trigger.
war,
yeah,
war.
yeah, they sold it.
We got attacked that day by Saudi Arabia. As much as, they were all Saudi Arabian. Or 19 out of 30 of them, or 15 out of 19. Whatever the fucking ratio is, Saudi Arabia hit us that day. We chose Iraq because they had oil, and they're easy fucking targets.
Well, I think there were some targets in Afghanistan because we went into Afghanistan first.
Plus,
Is
being
that-
an enemy of Bush to begin with. Was,
Yeah,
so that
whatever.
was
Whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever. We didn't get him. It took too fucking long. It's bullshit. Because Obama got him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whatever. And one guy is never going to bring back those. How many people died? 2,000?
Yeah, almost 3,000.
And that was another. That was kudos to him because he took a big risk going in and raiding that compound because he didn't know. He said maybe they determined the intelligence of maybe a 50-50 shot that it was going to be.
They had
bin
to be
Laden.
sure.
They weren't 100%,
Yeah.
and they went in and they were able to.
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk into it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
My whole thing, listen, Osama bin Laden might have been responsible for it, but the bad guys came from Saudi Arabia.
That's true.
We should have turned that fucking place into glass. So
If we were
going to
go to war, it wasn't Iraq.
yeah, Iraq
No.
was not. They're bad.
No,
They're
I know.
assholes too.
And everyone was saying that at the time.
And it was a complete miss. No, some people were falling. They were selling us, and I was fooled.
Bomb everyone.
Yeah. I'm like, I was so mad about 9/11. Like, I wanted revenge. Being a little more mature now, I fuck anybody that voted to approve that war, and that includes Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Fuck 'em all.
Well,
The only, one guy that didn't. Oh God, never
I don't
mind.
know.
I'm not getting into that. No, it bothers me because.
why does it bother?
Because you know what, they all flip flopped immediately when it was coming, when the truth, like when they come to realize that it wasn't for weapons of mass destruction. They all kind of bailed or made excuses for why they gave the president the approval for war, and they were lame excuses because they would say certain stuff like, oh well, George W. Bush tricked me, or to that effect. It wasn't as nasty as today would have been. They had their diplomatic way of suggesting that Bush fooled them. And all I could sit there is like, everyone called Bush a moron. Everybody thought Bush was this dumb hillbilly. And I'm saying, you're going to tell me this dumb hillbilly, George W. Bush, outsmarted all these intelligent Democrats?
Okay,
I just
wait.
wasn't buying it.
Okay, wait.
I
There's a whole other
think what
story,
ended
but-
up happening was
Okay.
I think that
That's great.
I think that the second George Bush wanted to finish what his father started, which was to get
Oh.
The second George Bush.
to get the oil and to get Saddam Hussein.
No, because
Bless you. Okay, stop yelling.
All right.
Stop yelling into your microphone.
HW had his opportunity to get Saddam Hussein out of power. He withdrew. That was the war. That was the Gulf
That was
War.
the Gulf War. That was when
Yeah.
them assholes just stood by their tanks and fucking surrendered because we
Yeah.
were just bulldozing them with Abrams or whatever tanks we had, Scud missiles or fucking Patriot
So we
missiles.
withdrew. We just said, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he signed a peace. He broke it, but Saddam Hussein signed a treaty, and he broke that treaty, and that was the excuse, or the argument made by W to go back in 2003.
Okay, that's great. The only thing I disagree with what you said was I think that George W. was definitely a dumb hillbilly, but the people he was working with were even dumber because
Well, they were greedy scum.
they were greedy scum, and when you get greedy, you get dumb, and you fucking you mess up. What do they always call it in the NFL when they try to reach for the extra yard and the ball comes out? They got greedy.
Yeah.
Same shit. Just tried to stretch a double to a triple. They got
Yeah.
greedy. Same
Yeah.
bullshit. Wow, man, we really fucking tailed off from 9/11. Now we're fighting in Afghanistan. I'm bombing the Saudis. We are fucking all over the place.
We capture Osama bin Laden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Osama bin Laden.
He was hanging around.
Joe's talking about the fucking raid. Joe's Zero Dark 30 over there. He's
The-
Joe Dark 30.
no Zero Dark MAGA.
Right,
That's what it is.
Right after 9/11, too.
Right
because
after
of what
9/11.
happened.
Yes.
The economy took a
That was
dip.
big and funny when I dropped my phone. Now you dropped your phone. Ha ha ha. You just pointed at me.
The economy took a dip for like a month and then came back.
With the economy?
Yeah, and it
How
did,
do you know that?
Because I remember it. The stock
an
market.
You're 17.
I know, but the stock market dropped quite a bit.
Oh, God. Him 17
then it
years old
came
on the
back.
stock market.
I loved it.
It wasn't
I loved that
long.
stuff.
It
I
wa-
would watch it. My uncle, who lived in Connecticut at the time.
Yes.
I would always chat with him about the stock market and all of that.
Yes. Oh.
He was just a businessman, a cool guy.
What did he do? Business.
He worked.
He was a
He
business
worked
guy.
in IT. He worked for an insurance company.
Did he really?
But he was cool. He was.
I know he was cool.
You're-
You've talked
you're-
about him many times.
You're right. The money pundits that were on TV were saying, "Oh, well, we're going to expect. We think the stock market's going to go down over this," but the money pundits were predicting the day that, because it was closed a week, they had to get back up, and the day that the stock market opened back up, oh, they're going to have a rally because people want to show that America's strong, and the damn thing tanked that day. So
Ugh.
it didn't happen, but it wasn't. It wasn't a disaster either.
It was also a primary day in New York City. They were having primaries too,
Yes.
which I didn't know about until later on.
Did they have them?
No, they didn't.
They
Why?
Later.
They ended up delaying it
Yeah, later.
Why?
Later they did.
because of the 9/11 attacks.
Oh.
Yeah, so they were having the primaries that day. That they canceled any event that was going on in New York City that day was canceled.
My ballet recital?
My pottery lesson?
Yeah, my pottery lesson? Oh, no.
What happened was it was hard to get. It was almost impossible to get around New York City. It's actually, it would have been a burden to have to travel around New York City on that day because, like, the subways, a lot of the bridges and tunnels were closed.
Can I interject and say that I'm for some reason, I'm figuring if I was near ground zero and I'm safe, but the towers that came down and I need to get out of there, for some reason, I think that you can get me out of there. I don't know why. I just feel like you are the master of getting out of the city. Maybe the city just doesn't want you and it tries to get you
Expels
out.
them out.
Expels them out as quickly as possible.
Like a bug, a
Yeah.
virus.
Because you used to go to New York City a lot, right?
Yeah.
And when did you stop?
When it became a cesspool.
Oh,
which
my God.
was
What, in the 70s when you weren't alive?
No,
What's going on?
Probably like, I don't know, 5 years ago. I mean, because I was going to the city up until like 5 years ago. It's just the crime and the homelessness went up, and the politicians don't care about the city anymore. It's not like when Giuliani was the mayor. They really don't care. They don't have police. They want to defund them and take them away. I mean, there's the Giuliani during that period.
Yes,
when
America's
that
mayor.
when that
America's
happened,
mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, New York City was the best it could ever be, and I was going down there at that time. I remember right around 9/11. It was before 9/11. The Twin Towers were there. I remember
no.
it. It was like 2000 maybe.
Okay.
We took a bus trip down to New York City. I remember we went with the church. My dad,
The church,
my dad went with us, and we went down and we went into Trump Tower.
Of
And
course
then
you did.
you
we
did.
and then we also looked around FAO Schwartz, and we went down where the towers were. We didn't actually go up there and check it out. Because my dad said we only have enough money to go to the one building, and you went to the Empire State Building, and he didn't want to pay to have us go up to the Twin Towers.
Did he have a way for you guys to sneak up?
Not really.
Listen, I'm going to put on a big trench coat, and you get underneath it, and we'll walk in, say
But-
we're one person.
That day that I was down there, it was like 95 degrees, but New York City was amazing. It was just so much cleaner and
Yes,
so
it was a
much better.
shithole. It was a shithole before. It was going bankrupt. It was a shithole before Giuliani. Giuliani did clean up the whole thing,
Yeah,
but
he took out all the porno mags.
he took out all the porno man, and he commercialized it a lot. But whatever he did, it worked.
Free porno mags.
And he would throw people in jail that committed crimes, so that way they wouldn't commit
Porno
more
mags.
He was a prosecutor. Yeah.
Porno mags. They must have had a lot of porn.
Rudy.
Yeah, he took all
Rudy.
the hookers
Yeah,
out. I get it. He got rid of all the hookers.
Well, one thing, I'm probably the only person in this room. I actually been on the top of the World Trade Center, the old ones.
You been on the actual top?
Yeah, I went to the top of the World
guess
Trade
what?
Center. You're gonna outdo me on that.
Nope. I've been to the top of one of them.
One. Okay.
I don't think I went on both of them.
Were you with
I
the,
went on the one that fell second.
them?
So the South Tower.
Oh, so
That's
that's
the
cool.
one I went
All
on.
right,
That's
so
not the
I
one
would have
with
lost
the-
that bet.
with the restaurant.
Why?
No, because I thought that you were too young to have ever gone on there. Like
No.
this guy here.
I have.
I
The
just
one with the
no,
I
I
was
just-
21 in 2001.
All right, you went on top of the World
No,
Trade
we went to
Center.
in 1990. We went with the Boy Scouts, and we got into the crown of the Statue of Liberty, and I looked down.
I went there too. That's
and-
freaking cool.
That's odd. I was at the Statue of Liberty when I was I don't even remember, but I know I was there. But I was really, really little.
knee high to a cricket.
Knee high. I was knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, that's how it is.
I don't know if you know.
I want to
if you
hear
went
about
there.
Baby Tom.
The-
We'll get to you in a
Well, I
second.
went on the
Oh,
Empire
okay.
State Building several times. That's still with us, though.
And did what after you climbed it? After you climbed it and fought out the plane.
Ate a banana.
What did you do? Yeah. Okay, I guess you cut him off for nothing. Go ahead, cut him off
well,
again.
there was a place that I never got to see, obviously, because I didn't go up there. Called
What?
It's called Windows on the World. It was a restaurant,
restaurant on the World
at the
Trade
top of the North Tower of the World
Okay.
Trade Center.
Okay.
And it was like a fancy place, like a steakhouse with like a beautiful view because the windows were facing the rest of the borough of Manhattan uptown towards the Empire State. So they had the windows set up where you would look out at night and you would see the entire borough of Manhattan. All the buildings, like straight up, as if you were like getting ready to drive up the.
I'm going to cut you off. Did you read that off Wikipedia?
I did not.
You went there?
I know somebody who was there. My aunt was there.
Your aunt?
And she was telling me about it. And I also watched some videos on it. Because I was curious after my aunt told me.
Why are we interrogating him?
No.
You and I don't go anywhere. These two are the jet setters.
The
Of course
view.
you fucking think-
He's right. The view from the World
It's
Trade
funny
Center.
how little you travel. It's like, well,
God.
I always say
He's
whenever
on-
I
he's
hear
on
Mike
trial
that
right
Mike
now.
went
On
somewhere,
trial.
I'm
No,
like,
not
wow,
you.
this is amazing.
Oh, shut up.
He moved. He
Oh my
went
God!
to a
listen to
different
this
spot.
asshole.
To quote the Who, you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
see from no, he's
You can see
right.
for
Joe's
miles
right.
and miles.
You could see for miles and miles. I remember going to the Empire State Building and the World Trade Center. I could see. It felt like I could see the whole world from up there.
Yeah, the entire globe.
I'd say, oh well, there's
It's just
the
unbelievable.
Statue of Liberty, and I said, oh, there's the world, like from both ends. Because I remember going to the Empire State Building and the World Trade Center in one day. Did them both.
But one thing I remember most about 9/11 is at that time when it happened, my love for New York City was extremely strong, and it really bothered me because of New York City being destroyed as well as the country and all the devastation. And
Why didn't you join the army like Pat Tillman?
I wasn't quite old enough to join the army, and by the time I would have actually been old enough to enlist, we had already went off course and had gotten into Iraq, which everybody kind of knew was a mistake at that time. So I wasn't
You
of
cared
age.
a lot, but not.
No,
No.
I also not true though. I wasn't old enough. It wasn't even
If
an option.
you really cared, you would have
You
faked
would've
your
bet-
age.
I would have.
people were-
I also wouldn't have passed the physical because I was freaking enormous.
Joe.
But my people were. It seemed like that way. I think
It
that
did.
was people were enlisting in droves.
There
It
were
did.
people that
It
were
did.
40 years old that were
Yeah,
enlisted.
yes.
I
Yeah,
wanna
That's
because
say
they
that.
love their country. That's why.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are very brave men and women.
Definitely.
Yes.
Now we wouldn't have that today. They go, fuck that. They got people putting-
No, you get free sex
who's
change.
leading us.
You get free sex change
That's
going
what
to
they
the
get
army.
you,
Free
dude.
sex change for all.
You go to
Yeah.
Iraq.
Just call me when the battle starts. I don't want to be there yet. Can I sit in my car?
I got a coffee.
Can I get a coffee before you guys start shooting SAM missiles off?
Why are you
please?
shooting them?
Are they waving? I
no.
seen somebody glance at their phone.
Joe?
Okay, so I got to level with the. Is there any way to say the word audience and not make a plural?
That is.
I know, but I'm trying to.
RDI.
Yeah, audii. I'm talking to our
audience member.
Yes, I'm talking to
The
our
member.
audience member, the one member,
Yes. Singular.
the the singular member,
Fan.
the one fan.
We love you.
We love whatever sentient being out there is liking and subscribing
Yes,
to this
please.
nonsense content.
Please.
Please, this is not shtick. We're not trying to make light of September 11th. It was a horrible day for this country. Unfortunately, it was a great day for other countries, and they were celebrating in the fucking streets like
They were throwing
animals.
candy at the kids in the streets. I cried that day. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Well,
I
I'm
think
not a
everyone-
woman,
I
so
think a
I
lot
didn't
of
cry.
people did.
Well, Tom cried, but
I'm secure enough in my masculinity to say that
think
I cried.
I probably cried.
did you guys like call each other?
I was 13 years old.
Yeah, I didn't know
Well,
him
so
then.
what? You know how to work a phone.
What,
You guys crying?
I was crying. Well,
you know what? I cried too.
I cried while I was
Yeah,
watching.
And I'm not just saying that so I can be cool with the group.
and Joe was
some
beating up Mr.
footage they were
Rogers.
showing on TV was so overwhelming that you could. Like you didn't have a soul if you
When
didn't
they
cry.
showed the people jumping out,
Yeah, I was crying
that
my
was
eyes out,
that was
yeah.
brutal. When
And
they
it was
showed
hard.
they showed
Yeah.
The only way I can describe it is just a cloud of dust coming towards like the
Just the goddamn thing collapsing. You're thinking there's people in there. all
yeah.
that family,
I like to
everything.
think that there weren't,
Yeah.
but there were people in there.
They're lucky, you know, in a way. It could have been a lot worse because, I mean, it was
They're
a little.
lucky? Nah.
No, nobody was lucky. A lot of people are lucky, unfortunate they weren't there because it was the time of mourning. So, you know, I would imagine.
Hold on. Joe's Ring doorbell's going off.
All right.
Yeah, I know that's you know what, that story had me.
A lot more people would have been in that building at, say, 10 a.m. as opposed to 8:30, 8:45.
I think it was the wrong way to go about it. I think the terrorists, all they did was guarantee their own annihilation.
Yeah.
They could have done some nonsense. You guys are pretty familiar with New York City. How many fucking nationalities are you going to see in 2001 stumbling around New York City?
Some I've never heard of.
Yeah, some Taliban asshole couldn't have snuck into the parking lot with a fucking bomb like they did before.
I still cannot believe that when I look back on it, with going down there and actually seeing it.
I saw it
beforehand.
once. I've been there once.
Yeah, and
Ground
seeing
Zero.
how close the buildings were together, that they didn't evacuate both of them at once.
I think they were only like 200 feet apart, right, or something like
they
that.
were.
Like
It was,
500 feet
and it
apart.
was part. They were really like when you looked at them, they were almost part of the same because they
Yes.
had the hotel between them, and the hotel was evacuated like right away when the North Tower got hit. But for some reason, with all the smoke and fire that was going on, they decided to let the South Tower just stay. And it was emergency personnel. If they would have said, you know, you got to evacuate the South Tower, they would have. But that would have saved quite a bit of people, but they didn't know at the time. So,
Well, the only thing else is how did, like, you've been running through your head, how could we have let it happen in the first place? How could it possibly have freaking happened? Should have never happened.
yeah.
That's all I got to say on this.
Is that your final? Is that your final?
Final word.
Final word.
That's my final word.
Joe, give me a final word. Then we'll go to Adam. Then we'll go to myself.
Well, we reflect and we think about all the people that died, and it was a terrible day.
Okay. Really short and sweet and to the point. K.A. Damn.
I agree with Joe. I think you nailed that pretty well.
I think September 11, 2001 told America and Americans that we are truly not safe. Unfortunately, we are like every other country. We can get hit at any moment. I think it also taught and showed that there are some people, talking about the firefighters that went up in those towers knowing full well they were not coming back. Those guys had the biggest fucking balls on this planet. More than I sit on my couch and do nothing. I have done nothing in my life compared to those men and women. And I think the people that died that day died for nothing. They died because people were mad at the West for our way of life. Unfortunately, they killed Muslims in that building too. They killed a whole bunch of people that agree with their way of life. And I don't think it'll ever happen again. I think if somebody stands up on a plane and pulls out an X-Acto blade, they're getting rocked. I'll find a child and throw that child at that person. They're going down. They're not getting in the cockpit. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that hopefully that'll be the last time America truly gets attacked from an outside entity. And that's what I have to say about that. Anybody else want to add anything? Or do you think that was a fitting final?
Very elegant.
Very elegant.
Yes,
Joe,
Yeah.
say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Everybody. Tom,
One. Good night, sir, or madam, as the case may be.
Adam.
Ta-ta.
Like and subscribe on YouTube at Unqualified Uprising. Check us out on Rumble and check out my Twitter at Malfrey69. I am Mike from Unqualified Uprising signing off. Bye for now.